It's Saturday again, and it's a blessing to be with you again. As with other Lenten Saturdays, today's gospel reading finds us once more in the tension between the Pharisees and those they considered sinners, like the tax collectors. This repetition, Saturday after Saturday, gives us a Lenten reminder that each of us is a mix of Pharisee and tax collector. In response to that, Jesus today offers us the timeless parable of the Prodigal Son. However, to truly get the essence of the Lord's message, perhaps it would be better for us to call this parable of the prodigal sons, as both were wasteful of their father's love. While more text is given to the journey of the younger son, the structure of the two brothers' stories are similar, but inversed. For example, the first brother in the parable indulges in joyful pleasure, but takes no responsibility. And the older brother focuses so much on his duty and responsibility that he seems to leave no room for joy and laughter. When Jesus tells this parable, his audience was the Pharisees. What he does in the telling is to narrate not just the events, but the inner thoughts of the two sons. Why is that so important? I believe this was done so that the Pharisee audiences might realize that those they consider sinners also have some serious depth of thought and discernment too. Now, looking at our own situation, how often do we assume motive in others? How often do we think that others don't have the nuance and depth of thought or circumstance as we do? If we have found ourselves in that pickle, Jesus is calling us out. Now, the Lord could have stopped at Luke chapter 15, verse 24, when the celebration began. But he kept on going with this parable. He wanted to tell the elder prodigal son's story too. Because Jesus recognized that the Pharisees were not being spiteful or bitter for no reason. He knew they were complex individuals. Yes, they were jealous, but on a deeper level, he saw clearly that they were afraid of losing out on God's abundant love. The elder son in this story goes on his own prodigal journey, refusing to go into the father's house, simmering outside, begging for attention and recognition, and standing in fear. The structure of the story repeats itself. Just as he did in running out to embrace the younger brother upon his return home, the father comes out of his house to meet the older son. He then offers an equally compassionate response based on that brother's needs. Now let's turn inward. Just as there was a mix of Pharisee and tax collector in each of us, we can identify with both prodigal sons in this timeless parable. This Lent, it's critical that we reflect on which of the two we are right now and how we need to journey back home. Notice that both sons do not reply to the father's gracious invitation. Perhaps that is because the response isn't theirs, it's ours to make. So this Lent, depending on which prodigal brother you identify with today, how will you respond to the Lord's boundless love?